Hey folks, this is Best in Slot, back with another installment of upcoming dinosaur games you may not have heard of. Now if you're active on this channel, you'll know all about the likes of Extinction, Lost Wilds, Goner, Jurassic Park Survival of course, and more that are coming down the line. But more and more indie developers are turning to dinosaurs for their games, and in this video I've got 12 different dinosaur games I've never showcased before on the channel. All 12 of these are coming to Steam on PC and can be wishlisted right now. Let's get started. First up, we have a sequel to a game you probably never played, may never have heard of, Pteranodon. Now the first game was a very limited FPS that had you defending yourself from swarms of Pteranodons on a foggy outcrop. It had Billy in Jurassic Park 3 kind of vibes. But the sequel, Pteranodon 2 Primal Island, looks to be riffing off of one of my favourite games of all time, Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. A mouthful, much like mine now. Brighter and more colourful, but the beach setting, the arachnid creatures, the bones being pulled from skeletons really give big Congo 5 vibes. Screenshots reveal a variety of different dinosaurs and settings to explore, including naval scenes, dark caves, and murky swamps. Listed as coming soon, but given the developer's track record, this one's probably quite reliable for a future release. For something entirely different, Nocturnal Relics is a first-person survival horror set in a science museum. Awesome. There are dinosaur statues and information panels everywhere, but there's also an ancient terror hunting us down, like a horror twist on Night at the Museum. Awesome. There's a ton of interactive displays and puzzles, very reminiscent of the ones you would use in museums that you may have gone to as a kid. Me in the Millennium Dome, personally. That's how old I am. And even if you're not a big fan of horror, you can actually play this one in safety mode and just explore the museum with full safe freedom. Nothing trying to eat your face. Slated for a September 2024 release, not long to go on this one. Now I try to avoid open world dinosaur survival games for these videos because there's a million bajillion of them, and if we're honest, they very rarely make it to release. But since I've actually played an early build of Echoes of Extinction myself, I can say with a little bit more confidence that it might make it into reality. Allowing you to play as a dinosaur or a human, the game has some gorgeous dinosaur models and some even more gorgeouser, it's a real word, Google Docs, stop correcting me, lighting. No release date yet, but I'd bet on this one making it as well. Fingers crossed we can finally get that open world horror experience I want from a human point of view. Fossil digging and VR seem to go hand in hand, but until now nobody has really combined them. That is until the imaginatively named Fossil Diggers VR popped up. The Steam screenshots are kind of terrible, but it seems to be a sci-fi fantasy paleontology game, with changing environments, a story mystery to unravel, and then dinosaur skeletons you have to manually assemble yourself. That's the bit I'm excited by. As a bonus, when you complete a skeleton, you get to see the dinosaur come to life before your eyes. Sounds like Alan Grant's worst nightmare, really. This is listed as coming soon. Time for some more horror, and there is a lot of it today. The Paddock is another Five Nights at Freddy's with a twist. The twist being, well, dinosaurs. It's actually got some cool ideas though. You're going to stop this large theropod using your CCTV cameras and your electric fences, and it actively moves around the park rather than flitting in via static images. Then, if you survive the night, you can spend the day exploring the area in safety and unraveling the mystery of where the heck this big ass dinosaur came from, and who the shadowy corporation responsible for it are. Listed as a Q3 2024 release, so not long to go now at all, should be out in the next couple of months. Shipwrecked Lost Colony looks a little like a modern twist on Paraworld, my beloved, but with more of a focus on town building. Your survivors have washed up on a prehistoric island, and it's up to you to help them rebuild their society. And along the way you'll have to both fend off wild dinosaurs and tame, breed, domesticate others to utilise them in your colony building. This actually looks pretty cool. Other than the dinosaur models showcased at the end of the trailer, they're not so good, but there are some nicer ones on the Steam page that are worth checking out. I think the idea of protecting your burgeoning colony from velociraptor attacks sounds pretty awesome though. Currently has a 2025 release date. 7th up, we have Terrible Lizards. Great name. This is a first-person horror platformer set in a dinosaur attraction on Route 66, which is already really exciting to me as a premise. Love me some heavy theming. Unfortunately, it does look like a mascot horror on the face of it, but the description does promise mysteries to be solved and monstrous threats, so I'm going to cross my fingers that the mascots maybe give way to real dinosaurs as you dive deeper beneath the earth. Regardless, it's a surprisingly pretty game with some great designs, a cool museum looking section, always a big fan of that, and as of now, of course, no firm release date. Right, time for something weird. Sirens lets you play as a, well, siren. The creature of myth that uses its sexy fishy ways to lure horned up sailors to their untimely demise. Here though, you're much more focused on what lies below the surface of the water. Now whilst there's a lot of modern sea life visible here, the game is also going to take you back in time where you're going to hunt down ferocious extinct predators. From what I can see, there's a Mosasaurid, a Plesiosaur, a Plesiosaur, and even a Spinosaurus that the player attacks in this almost Monster Hunter-esque passage of gameplay. The water effects look great, the models look pretty good, and it's definitely original if nothing else. Release date to be announced. Our second and final VR game is Reptile Park VR, a surprisingly competent looking VR game with, I shall see in a moment, raptors ripped straight from Jurassic Park 3. You've crash landed on a tropical island, isn't that always the way, and you'll have to explore, scavenge, craft, make traps, and survive dinosaur attacks in both single and multiplayer. It's certainly an ambitious project, trying to create something akin to The Forest, but with dinosaurs. I'm a little concerned with how bullshotty this trailer is, but there's definitely potential here. Release date to be announced. Going a bit retro with number 10 and Creatures of War, a side-scrolling platformer shooter that looks like a mashup of Dino Crisis 2 and those old-school Jurassic Park games on the Sega. Featuring a huge variety of environments, guns, and most importantly creatures that range from your expected dinosaurs to a host of arthropods, prehistoric aquatic creatures, and even at the end, what appears to be a bizarre arthropod mammalian hybrid. A little dose of impossible creatures to boot, why not? Has a firm release date of 23rd of October 2024, which is so refreshing to see. Okay, more horror. Dinosaurs are spooky, you know? Unknown Tapes is a lo-fi game that uses found footage techniques to ramp up the terror. If you recognise this one, it's because I've already played the demo here on the channel, and you can actually do so now yourself via the Steam page. The game is a little rough around the edges. If you saw my video or you've played it yourself, you may remember the Laughing Man in particular. But the found footage aesthetic also made it pretty bloody terrifying, and a really cool fit for dinosaur horror in general. If they can just tighten up the bugs and tighten up the experience in general, this could be pretty cool and pretty terrifying. Slated for a Q1 release 2025, so that's the first 3 months next year. Our final game is ExTime Primal Menace, an action-adventure game inspired by the likes of Dino Crisis. Now whilst the trailer doesn't offer much other than ambience, it offers a hell of a lot of it, and a look through the devlogs of this game have me hesitantly excited. The dinosaur models on the likes of Deinonychus and Carnotaurus look great, and the devs seem quite open and personable in their communication and development of the game. The name sucks, why not just call it Primal Menace, what's ExTime? But if it works out for the best, we could be in for an actually good spiritual successor to Dino Crisis, because God knows Capcom is never going to do anything with this franchise. No release date yet. And that's it folks, 12 upcoming dinosaur games you can wishlist right now on Steam. If you're interested in any of these, you should go wishlist them at the links provided in the description. It really is a big deal to developers to get those wishlists. And give the devs some love and support so they can keep working on the games and we can actually play them one day. Some of these I am actually excited for. I'm always a little reserved. I think we've all been burned by dinosaur games a few too many times. But still, I'm optimistic seeing so many devs begin to tackle dinosaurs as a subject, and I'm really looking forward to even more of those coming down the line. If you enjoyed the video, consider being super duper cool and throwing me a like, and I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love as always, bye bye.
Road.